Hey everyone, welcome back to the Slept On podcast, where we bring you the music that you may not know yet, but absolutely should. Today we have on a very special guest, Hannah Mazey. She's an artist whose unique sound and bold lyrics makes her an exciting artist to watch. So let's dive right in. Hey Hannah,
Hello. Nice to
how's
meet
your
you.
day going? Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's going great. I'm really excited to just have a chat. I feel like I've not done one of these in a long time, so it's nice to just like open up and talk about what I've been up to. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Amazing. So when's the last time that you did a podcast?
I'd say it was about a good year ago now. But I absolutely love doing stuff like this because it's like the only time I get to like just talk about everything and just vent like all of the stuff that I've been up to like people that are actually interested.
Amazing. Well, listen, feel free to share whatever you like, what all is. So, Hannah, for anyone who might be hearing your name for the first time, how
Mhm.
would you describe your music and the type of storyteller that you are?
How would I describe my music? I'd say it's bold, energetic, and full of emotion. Um, And then, like, the kind of storyteller I am, I'd say, is probably very personal. I tell a lot from, I write a lot from the heart. And sometimes it's a little bit too honest
Never.
to the point where I'm like, can I even, like, release this song? Because it's quite obvious who it's about. So it can be, like, very brutal. I'd say brutally honest as well. That's the kind of storytelling um
Mm.
that I'd say that it is.
Do you know
Um
what, though? I think listeners can always tell when it's about a real life story because it's so relatable.
uh,
Thinking specifically about little boys, we'll get to that later. I just think it's always so evident in the lyrics and the way it comes across. And I don't know, you say, oh, I don't know if I can release it, but it's always better, I think.
yeah. No, I think that like obviously I think the initial like first ever release it was very like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Like I know that people who I know will know who this is about.
Mm,
And I kind of got over that hump a little bit because I was a bit like, well, everybody writes from experience at the end of the day.
hmm.
Um, and you've just got to kind of do those things to be able to move on from those situations as well. And you just kind of get over it and you're just a bit like, okay, like no one actually cares when it comes down to it. Nobody really cares about it. Um, but yeah, it was initially very scary to be like, okay, I'm going to put this out. And it was like all of my thoughts, all of my feelings towards like a certain situation in my life. Um, it's very scary initially, but you just move on from it and you're just a bit like, okay, I can do this now.
100%. So would you say that you come out of a certain situation, do you sit down with your guitar and think, I'm going to make something from this? Or does it happen sort of organically where you think you're starting it somewhere else and then the song comes along and you're like, oh, actually, this is about so and so or about that situation?
I'd say it kind of can be a little bit of a mix of both. I've definitely written um, in both scenarios. I've written, but I'd say it happens a lot where I'll write about something at one time and then not realize it was about a certain thing until afterwards. If that
That's
makes
so
sense,
interesting. Yeah.
kind of like a subconscious like feeling. So like, um, even sometimes now I'll think that I'm writing about something specifically, um, and then I'll kind of reflect on it a little bit, and I'll be like, okay, it's not really about that though. It's
Yeah.
about like something else. So it's really like strange because I've also like heard other artists speak about writing in that way. I think it was Billie Eilish who did an interview, and when she said that, I was like, oh my God, this makes sense. Like, this is how I write things as well. It
Mm.
was nice to have that validation of like, okay, I'm a little bit normal. Like,
Yeah,
it's not just me.
absolutely. And going back to you saying about, oh, I don't know if I should put this out there, people might put two and two together.
Hmm.
Whenever I'm debating things like that, I always think of that Billie Eilish video where she's like, at the end of the day, we're all gonna die. Nobody's gonna remember you, so fuck it. And I feel
Yeah,
like that's a way to live.
yeah,
Words to live
100%.
by.
And like, I'd rather be like remembered for something rather than
Mm,
like remembered to be like a person who had talent who didn't even try, and didn't
mm.
release stuff just because like they were scared of other people's reactions. So, like, I'm really happy that I made that like initial move to just do it. Because it took me a long time to get to that place. And I like really struggled for a while with kind of like getting into a habit really of actually like writing music and then putting it out, and like even the social media side of things, like everything like front on being an artist, an independent artist, is very um it's very scary when you actually look at it. And especially when you're like, I mean, I can be quite an awkward, well, I think I started off as quite like a socially awkward person, very anxious, very worried about what other people think all the time. And actually just like writing and putting stuff out in itself has just helped me so much as a
Mm-hmm.
person. Because it just makes me just not give a fuck anymore.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh, no, I love that. I think so many musicians can relate to that feeling of, I guess, catharsis when it comes to songwriting. Using bad emotions for good, put
yeah,
simply.
100%.
Um, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I've noticed that you blend genres when it comes to the sound of your music. There's a little bit of pop, some soul, some indie. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to pin down, but like in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to know which artists have influenced you over the years.
I find this question so hard to answer in every interview because, and I probably answer it different every time because there's just so many like different genres and different artists that I listen to.
Mm.
Um, and if I'm being completely honest, like my inspirations don't really come from artists themselves. They come more from like empowerment and like women in general, like female artists in general. Um, and yeah, I would say like there's obviously people that have inspired me. Obviously, growing up, um, I'd probably say Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then like I'd probably say at the moment one of my like most listened to artists has been Tyler the Creator, which is a
Okay.
bit of a random one genre wise. But it's just like that creativity that inspires me the most. And obviously he's got his own brand. Like he literally like makes his own videos. Like he directs his own videos, and like he's so like at the front and center of all of what he does. And I feel like it. I mean, I relate to that so much as an independent artist because when you are independent, you do everything yourself.
Mm.
Like, you have to. You don't have a choice other than to do that. And I kind of rate him for still doing all of that himself and like keeping all of that creativity to himself instead of obviously he'll work with other people, but that inspires me because I am a creative and
Mhm.
I create everything that I put out there, even visually, like visuals, and um, we've been like filming some exciting stuff that's going to be coming up soon. That like I had a lot of input in as well.
Mm.
So I'd say he's a huge artist that's inspired me since I was about 16,
Mhm.
uh, and not even just on like the musical side of things, just in everything in the whole like creative circle that he's created.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer because I think it goes back to what you were saying about having all of your music is about things that have happened to you.
Mhm.
So of course, anything to do with that, whether it's the music video or the way it's branded or album art, is gonna, it's gonna feel so personal to you. So I suppose it would just be a bit, no one else is gonna capture that, I guess. Is that
Yeah,
is that fair to say?
definitely. Yeah, I think that only you truly know what you're writing about. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes I don't. Sometimes, like I was just saying, sometimes you don't know what you're writing about in that moment. But like I say, it's very, very like personal process. I think
Mm.
writing music, it's like writing a story, and I think that only the person that's writing it truly knows like the emotion and um, the people that it's about. And that's why I feel like, that sparks so much interest in people and fans. Like Taylor Swift's fans are like hardcore fans, and
Hmm.
they're always like debating about, which songs are about like which person, and
Yeah, who's the scarf guy?
like
I've seen all that.
it's such like a huge thing that people want to be a part of and people want to know. Like people get
Mm.
a little bit too interested in it, I think, and too hung up on that. But yeah, it's such an important thing, and I think it's still, even though you're letting that out into the world, it's still such a personal thing because only, like I say, only you truly know what it's about, and you can keep that locked up inside of you to yourself.
Mm.
Um, so it's nice to be able to kind of present that through video and through the lyrics, through anything that like you put out there on social media. Um, and that I really enjoy that part of it now, and just being able to like create things that go along with it and that connect together. I think it's just like it's like a little puzzle, and you can just start to like make everything, aesthetically kind of match what the vibe is that you're going for.
Mm. Absolutely. Just to sort of get to know you a bit more in terms of your background. So you're from Wigan,
Yeah.
a town in the north known for its close-knit community, local scene, and obviously pies. Um, I also know that there's a massive Weatherspoons because I have actually been.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, to what
Been,
extent do you? Huh?
you've been to Wigan?
I have. So my mum lives in Southport.
Oh, that's so random. I weren't expecting that at all.
Yeah, it is random, and the amount of times that I've had to do like the awkward walk from Wigan Northwestern to Wigan Woolgate,
Yeah.
just to see your trains cancelled. So it's like, what do I do? Right, I'm gonna go to Spoons, and then it's always, yeah, it's always it's always interesting to see a local Spoons. There was
Yeah.
people there. There was people there. It was quite early in the morning, and I was just getting breakfast. There was people there on the pints at like 10 a.m.
Yeah. It is one of those. It is one of those. I mean, I feel like it's a very British thing that like wherever you go, you have to go to the spoons
Yeah,
whilst you're there. You've got to
yeah,
see what it looks like.
100%. Less about me going to Weatherspoons. To what extent do you think growing up in Wigan influenced you as an artist?
Um, well, for starters, it's a very like working class town. I think that what inspires me the most, I'd probably say, if I'm being completely honest, where I'm from doesn't really inspire me creatively. And I'd say because I have lived here for my whole life. And I think what kind of inspired me the most growing up was knowing that there was like a world outside of where I live.
Hmm.
Because it hasn't always kind of been, there's been a music scene in Wigan for many, many years. And there's been like a lot of artists like The Verve, the Lathams more recently, who, have been absolutely smashing it and have had like, I think they're on the third number one UK album. And, obviously that's very inspiring to hear. I went to college with them as well, so it's very
Oh,
inspiring
amazing.
to hear.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think that what inspires me the most is knowing that I'm not kind of tied down to just being a part of this scene. If that makes sense. I feel like
Mm.
I was talking about this the other day, and I feel like, without going on a tangent, by the way,
Go on a tangent, go for it.
I feel like there's a lot of people that make where they're from the whole personality as an artist. And if that's the way that you want to go, then I'm not like judging that, but I don't feel the need to use that as like a way to pull people in, if that makes sense. I actually don't think I do as well in Wigan as I do in Manchester or Liverpool, because I don't think there's a scene for artists like me here.
What do you mean by that specifically?
In a sense of, I've never seen. Obviously, I know of many female artists in Wigan who I'm friends with. But in terms of like part of like the live scene, and people that gig to go further in the industry, I've never seen really any female artists that have inspired me, that have come out, of the scene and gone into the scene and actually took it further.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the Lathams who I just mentioned, obviously they were really lucky and they managed to like make a living out of it. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to be able to do that, but I've just never, I never really feel like anyone's looking for someone like me to support. In a sense of, there's a lot of lads bands, there's a lot of male artists that I see, but not as many females, which is a shame because I know that there are some out there, and they might not necessarily feel like they have a place. And that's why I found it like it was such a good opportunity. The other week I played in Wigan to 550 people.
Wow. How
So
was that?
it was insane. Like, it was the biggest gig that we've ever done.
Wow.
And yeah, our friends, the Lathams, who we went to college together, we got asked to support them very last minute, for like a last minute show, and they managed to sell it out within like a week.
Oh my God.
So
Amazing.
it was a really good opportunity to showcase my music to people from my town, because I want them to like me. Like, obviously, I want people from Wigan to like my music and to hear it. But I feel like sometimes, like, the certain audience of that music, specifically like indie rock music, they kind of, I feel like a lot of people don't want to hear what I've got to say.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone's like sexist. I'm not saying like there's no one who's a feminist in Wigan, but it just feels like it's very much like not really a thing. And
Yeah.
it's quite behind in the times as a town, to be honest. There's still very much a lot of there's a lot of homophobia still in the town, a lot of racism, and you only have to go on to, the local newspaper comments to see that.
Yeah. I think I
And
mentioned I grew up not too far away. And there is a strange, despite the fact you've got metropolitan cities like Manchester and Liverpool, which are so diverse
yeah,
and in my opinion very welcoming. Yeah, it is strange that there's still this northern towns in between that aren't quite as progressive, if that's the right word.
yeah, and obviously I know a lot of good people that come from the town, but there's still a lot of hate that comes from it. And I actually did a gig. I was going to do a gig with my friend who's called Jar, and she puts on her own events, and she's also an artist, and she put on an event in Wigan, and it was for, female and non-binary artists, uh,
Amazing.
and it got, like, when I say hundreds, like, it got hundreds of hate comments, like, basically just saying, why are we not doing an all men event? Why is it, why do we have to give these people a platform? Like, just unneeded comments where it's just like, you're still not getting the point. The
Yeah.
point we're making events like this because we need to, because we
Mm,
need to address the issue.
mm,
Um, and people just don't get it at all, and it's really frustrating. And you know what, some people are never going to get it, and I understand that, but it's definitely really important to just bring that diversity into the
mm,
town and to make people realize, like, you don't have to be you don't have to be a man to be a rock star. You don't have to
mm,
be a man to be a member of a band, like, and to be good at it. Like, I just think there's so many like assumptions that come along with like the indie scene in general, and I think, yeah, like, it just, what inspires me about the town is that I want to make it so that it's more welcoming in that way, and I want people to see me and see that I've come from here, and to think, okay, like, I can do that as well.
mm.
Because I didn't have anyone that I looked up to that in that way, to think that I could do that. I had to like come I had to like bring that into myself. Um
Yeah.
so yeah, that's was a very big mouthful.
No, do you know what, Hannah? I think you've tapped into something really relevant at the moment. I think that's an amazing way to discuss your inspiration, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of people may not feel as though they have a place in the specific scene that they're in.
Yeah.
And so their response might be to leave that scene. So yeah, I think it's great that you're basically saying, fuck you all, I'm carving a place for myself here. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, it also reminds me of, I was looking at your TikTok and you posted about your song Little Boys,
Yeah, yeah.
and there were some comments saying that it was sexist. And I was looking at it like, what? What
Yeah.
was your feelings about that? I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you know what though? Like, because I read into things like to the dot, and I'm
Mm,
always making sure that everything I say is politically correct, like socially correct. And I would never listen to a song like that and think, if it was written by Olivia Rodrigo, if it was written by Taylor Swift, whoever, like a huge female artist, I would not think that is sexist.
no.
And I just think it's just so hypocritical, like,
Yeah.
completely, because it was coming from men, and
Oh, only men. I made sure to check. Yeah.
only men. Um, and it's so hypocritical because, like, there is literally new tracks every day coming from men who, address women as, you know, bitches, just sexist slurs, um,
Mm,
and, putting women in a sexual light constantly. And that's sexism, but no one wants to talk about it.
mm,
And I'm not saying I don't sit there and listen to those tracks. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect and that I don't listen to that music, because I have listened to that music, and it's art at the end of the day. You take it, everybody takes it differently, and everybody, processes the lyrics in a different way. But at the end of the day, if you want to have a problem with what I'm saying, then you should have a problem with what they're saying too, because what they're saying is a hell of a lot worse.
mm,
Um, and I'm just, I'm writing music that's coming from my personal experiences. So if my personal experience is seen as sexist, then so be it. Like, I can't do anything about that. That is what I've experienced.
mm.
I think it's just insecurity from their behalf, and there's always going to be people that aren't happy with something that you do. Um,
Mm,
so I found it quite funny, actually. I didn't get angry. I was just like, this is pathetic.
mm.
Like, they've got that angry that they've had to leave that comment on my post. So I just found it like really sad. Um,
Mm.
But yeah, it was quite fun to be able to make a video about it and then have no response afterwards.
Yeah. No, that seems to always be the way when people are called out. Um, Also on your TikTok, I saw your iconic Sue Sylvester costume. Can you tell me more about that? Where did you get it? And also, what is
Oh,
Wigan Boxing Day fancy dress?
I've completely forgot about that. So Wigan, every Boxing Day, on the 26th of December every year, um, it's like a tradition that everybody goes out in Wigan and basically just does a fancy dress night. So everyone that you see around Wigan on Boxing Day will be dressed up in fancy dress. It's just a thing. I don't know why. I don't know who came up with it, but it's been a thing like since I was a baby. Like it's
Hannah, why am I hearing about this now? I literally lived an hour away for like, what, 15, 16 years?
no, literally
What the hell?
everyone knows about it. It's just like something that's unsaid that everybody knows happens every year. Um, so last year, I decided to dress up as Sue Sylvester because I'd started rewatching Glee at the end of the year last year, and I was like, she's an icon.
Oh, yeah.
So I already had the trousers, which I'm wearing right now.
Love it.
And I was like, I'm just going to get a tracksuit top from Vintage, which matches this. And I've already got my outfit. Like, I literally don't. So I spent like £3 on this tracksuit. Um, Literally used my boyfriend's old wig that he had from a different fancy dress night, and I was sorted. I was
Oh
literally
my
sorted.
God, amazing. I hope you're going about Wigan, just like cussing people out like
I was.
Sue Sylvester style.
And I was like, in the morning, I was like, no, I wasn't saying that to people. It was so funny though. It was just funny. Um,
Oh my God, I love
it
that.
was it was such a good excuse to be able to call people out for no
Yeah,
reason.
just hiding behind the Sylvester wig.
Yeah, just like
I love it.
it's not me, it's Sue. That's how Sue sees it.
So, where are you calling home these days? Are you still in Wigan or do you live in Manchester?
I'm still in Wigan. I still live at home, and I've never actually really properly permanently lived outside of Wigan. I moved to Liverpool for, I'd probably say it was only like 8 months or so.
Okay.
Because I went to university for a little bit, and that was like around the time where I decided I wanted to be an artist. So I do have a full-time job as well, which funds everything pretty much.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's
and
the reality for a lot of artists.
yeah, it is. It's I was thinking about it the other day, and I was speaking to someone and just saying that I don't understand how people at this point like live, because I don't make any money from this. It's all pretty much like my money goes into um like promoting myself and goes into like being able to gig. Um, so without my job, I don't think I'd be able to do this.
Yeah, I think it's something you hear a lot, like even with actors as well. Like my background is acting. I went to drama school, and a lot of people saved for years just to be able to go to drama school, and there's no guarantee of a job. Like, it's tough. It's
Yeah,
really tough, and that's why you've got to love it, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, I probably put myself in a hell of a lot of debt because, in terms of student loan, because I went to uni for it. It was during COVID, so it was such a strange time. So that maybe kind of didn't help. Um, and I didn't want to do it. Like I just decided I was like, I want to I want to do music. I'm gonna do it, and I can't do it whilst I'm here, without making money. Um, and I just didn't. I weren't happy with where I was and what I was doing, so I just decided to drop it,
Yeah, good for you.
and I'm in a much better position now, much better, and I'm actually going back to do a course, like a shorter course in marketing, so that helps me out.
Amazing. Yeah,
So,
fantastic.
yeah, but no, I'm like in a much happier position than I was 3 years ago, where I was like probably just like moping around, doing a course that I wasn't interested in, wasn't
That you
happy.
should be doing, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I genuinely don't think there's enough. Um, there's not enough people speaking about in schools and colleges
Mm.
about alternative um ways of life. Like they kind of just tell you you have to go to school, you have to go to college, and then you go to
Mm.
uni. And, that's kind of like what everyone does. They either do that or they go out and get a job. But
Mm.
I was like really stuck, and I wanted to do music, but I was too scared to because I thought I can't make a living out of it. So I went the other way, and then quickly realised it wasn't for me, and I was just doing something purely for the fact that everybody wanted me to do it. Um, so I was lucky in the sense that I realised that sooner rather than later. Um,
Mm.
and I will be paying off a student loan that I didn't get a degree from, but it is what it is. I
You
needed
know,
to.
it's a chapter for the autobiography. That's
Yeah.
what we're gonna call it.
It just
Um,
it needed to be done to realise that this was what I wanted to do. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here doing this
Mhm.
now. Like I wouldn't be. I might not have even released any music if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I think we've spoken a little bit about, the pitfalls of living, in a town that doesn't have the most supportive creative scene. But on the flip side of that, I think living in the Northwest must be really exciting as a musician because you've got Liverpool, Manchester, you're not too far from Leeds as well,
Yeah,
all of which have an amazing music scene. And speaking of, congrats on your first Manchester headline gig at the Deaf Institute. That's amazing.
yeah, I'm so excited for that.
It's a
Like I
great
say,
venue.
yeah, it wasn't. To be honest, it wasn't really in the original plan for this year. So we obviously played Liverpool in February, just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
the Jacaranda, right?
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
we managed to sell that out like months before the show.
Amazing.
So it was like really exciting. We're all like, uh, and then yeah, so there was a lot of people asking us to play in Manchester. Because we had played there at the end of the year supporting Aiko, and she was a contestant in Eurovision. I think it was
Oh,
last year or the year before. Um, so we supported her, and there was obviously a lot of her fans there that really enjoyed our set. And yeah, they were like, "Oh, we want you to play in Manchester, like do a show in Manchester." So I spoke to the promoter that I was working with, and I was like, "I know it wasn't in the plan, and I know that Liverpool is really close to Manchester, and that it might mess things up, but." I was like, I don't care. Like, let's just do a show. Let's see how it goes. And so far, it's been going great. Like, tickets are selling really fast, which is nice to see. Uh,
amazing.
I think it's like a third sold out so far, which is really good because it's only in June. Um, what else has been happening?
Do you
Yeah,
think that your experience at the Jacarandas like set you up a bit for the Deaf Institute? Because it's a slightly bigger venue, isn't it?
it's slightly bigger. Yeah, I think it's 150 people.
Mm.
Whereas Jacaranda was about 80.
Well,
Uh,
listen, you've done 500 now, so
yeah,
you
I feel
should be
like
fine.
now we've done that. I mean, it was a week ago that we did that.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and after we did that, I just said to it was just me and my guitarist, Tommy, that was playing. We were just doing an acoustic set.
Mm.
Um, and after we got off, I just said to him, I said, I just want to do that over and over again. Like,
Yeah.
to that many people every night, like, I could do it. Um, and now we're just like ready for everything.
Yeah.
Ready for everything
Amazing.
that comes. So,
Also, I really want to just bring up, speaking of Liverpool, um, I just find it so cool that you played at the Cavern Club.
Yeah.
Like, not even just the Beatles played there, but like Oasis, Adele, the Rolling Stones played there. What was that experience? It was for BBC Introducing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we got asked from Dave Monks, who is the presenter for BBC Introducing in Merseyside.
Mm.
And I feel like, you know, his support has been massive to us because we it's kind of helped with like our momentum in Liverpool, because obviously we're not from Liverpool, but because we're in the middle of Manchester and Liverpool, we kind of can dip into both cities,
Hmm.
um, and it'd be quite easy for us to get there and like to be able to say, you know, we're kind of in the middle. So I think Liverpool has been quite welcoming to us, and I think part of it is thanks to Dave, because he, you know, he's played like every single song that I've released, um, and he asked us to do the Cavern Club with BBC Introduce Him, um, and it was, yeah, that was probably one of our best gigs that we did, to be honest, last year.
Amazing. I mean,
Oh,
because when you're outside, you don't, or at least I didn't realize how tightly packed it would be.
yeah.
And you go downstairs, and it's like you're shoulder to shoulder with everyone. But I guess as a musician playing there, that must have been slightly surreal.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know that the venue that we played in is actually like another part of the venue. So
Okay.
it's in the back and it's like the live room. So it's where all the live bands play. Whereas I think like where the Beatles and other artists have played is in like the main room where like the pub and stuff is.
Mm.
So when there's like more than two people that are playing, they actually play in the live room. So it's
Um,
like top quality sound. It's like videoed as well, so it's like on the screens around you. When someone's playing, you can like see them on the TVs and stuff. So it's really
oh.
cool.
Wait, so
Um,
can you see yourself when you're playing?
yeah, yeah, it's really
Oh
weird.
no. No, I'd be like
It's
that.
Yeah, so like you can see it. It's like on the side a little bit, so you can't fully see. But
Mm.
there was like people like videoing that, like, oh, Hannah's on TV, and like, and I was like, oh my God, this is so weird.
That's so
Um,
cool though. Oh my
but
gosh.
it was really cool, and like probably the best venue that we've played at in terms of like how the stage was like really spacious, and
Mm.
then like we had like a clock timer, so we knew what like how long we were taking on our set, and it felt all like very professional, and we got like the full recording back of it as well, which was nice, like
Oh, that's
audio
great.
recording. So yeah, they're really like top class professionals that work there. Um, so that was like probably one of our best experiences so far, gig wise.
That's brilliant. I saw as well that you were applying to Truck Festival.
Yeah.
Um, Now that festival season is coming up, the Glastonbury lineup has caused quite a lot of backlash. I don't know if you've seen it, but
No.
I personally don't get it because you've got massive legacy artists like the Libertines, the Script, Rod Stewart,
Yeah.
and then you've also got like Grammy winners Doechii, Ray,
Yeah.
and like you've got Kneecap as well, who are up and coming. So I personally don't get the
I don't get the
what people
hate.
don't like about it. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't get the hate. Like
No.
I think the people that are complaining are like people who probably haven't even got tickets. And people that just they need to get with the times. Like we're not in the 1980s, 1990s anymore. There's new up and coming artists. Well, they're not even up and coming. Like the people that are headlining are well established.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I saw a video that a guy did actually about that lineup. And there's an artist on there who's headlining on the Saturday. And forgive me, but it's Neil Young.
Neil Young, yeah. I
Uh,
love Neil Young.
and he's headlining on the Saturday, right? And this guy was like talking about how, you know, with like legacy artists, they usually, you know, would have them play on a Sunday, um, as like the Sunday like legacy set or whatever.
Mm.
Um, and this year, Charlie XCX is playing on the Sunday, but Paul Heaton, No, it's not. Paul Young.
Neil Young.
They all they all blend into one. I can't
Yeah.
go. But yeah, he's playing on the Saturday, and I was like so confused by that because it's like
Yeah.
Charlie is a Saturday set, like
Yeah.
hands down, like people will be there for like the rave, the party tunes on a
Yeah.
Saturday. And he was just talking about how like there's so many like legacy female artists that have deserved in the past that Saturday slot, and they could
Hmm.
100% manage it. I think there was like it's like Madonna, Dolly Parton, like they could headline that stage easily
Hmm.
without doubt, and they don't get that opportunity for some reason. It's a bit
Yeah.
strange.
It's
Um,
a bit weird. I haven't actually thought about that. I remember I was there 2 years ago, almost specifically to see Lana Del Rey. Love Lana Del Rey. And she wasn't a headliner.
yeah,
And I remember there was loads of, backlash about that specifically because, I don't know, I think she's earned it. I know I'm biased because I love her. But so yeah, actually, there is a question following from this. Um, if you could choose three headliners for next year's Glastonbury, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, who would it be? And disclaimer, they have to be alive. And
okay,
also, fuck everyone else. They don't have to be a crowd pleaser. Like, it's just your own private concert. So go as niche, go as bold as you like.
okay. Um, to be fair, right, so I'd probably put on the Friday, I'd probably say Chapel Roan.
Okay.
And then Saturday, I'd probably say Charlie XCX. I feel
Mm,
like she's a perfect Saturday night vibe because, like, everybody wants to, like, get the drink on a Saturday. Everyone's, like, buzzing because it's, like, the main night. I feel like she'd
hmm
be perfect. Sunday, I'll go for, like, I'm trying to think of, like, someone who would probably be, like, a legacy artist. Do you know what? I'd probably say then Madonna.
Yeah.
I think that would be like such a sick set because she's got so many bangers, and
hmm
like I think it'd just be amazing to watch.
Listen,
Um,
I would go to that festival. That
yeah,
sounds fun.
100%.
Also, I love how you went for all female led. Like, I'm so down for that. Because I saw Elton on the Sunday the year that I went,
Yeah,
and he was amazing, but
yeah,
like I don't know, I wasn't the biggest fan, just like putting it out there. I wasn't the biggest fan before the gig. And
yeah,
I was like, oh well, me and my mate were like, oh, we'll go and see him and then we'll go to, I think Camel Fat was playing nearby
yeah,
or something. But he was amazing. It was so
yeah.
good. And I think having someone of that status but a woman like Madonna, yeah,
Yeah. I think
100%.
I think with people artists like Elton John is that I think he definitely still makes himself like relevant with the times because he's so supportive of artists. Like I've seen him um that he's friends with like Chapel Roan now, and he's
Oh, are they
supporting.
mates?
Yeah, yeah, they're like mates.
I didn't know that.
They've got like photos together and stuff, and like
Oh,
apparently
amazing.
sir all the time. Like it's so cute. But like I think he performed Pink Pony Club actually with her.
Oh my God, he's so cool. What the
He's,
hell?
yeah,
How did I miss this?
but I think it's so nice to see artists like Elton John because he's obviously from a completely different era, um, and he's still so supportive of like upcoming artists, and it's so special to watch someone like him perform because you kind of realize like why he has so much fame. Like people who don't kind of get it will get it if they like yourself, like you said, that he was amazing when you saw him. And I
Yeah.
think it's so special to see someone like that like actually perform in real life and you see it for yourself and you think, okay, I get it now. Like I get the hype.
hmm
Like even though he's obviously like very old now, and he's had his time, he's still, you know, he's still smashing it and people can still see that spark and still get that emotion from his
hmm
performances. I think it's really special.
And also, just going on to more recent stuff that you've put out. You recently collaborated with the incredible band Bar Staff, who are also coming on the show soon. Shout out Bar Staff. How was the process of featuring on the single Hell No and Love? And was it a big adjustment to go from solo work to sort of collaborating with a band?
Um, so it was really fun to write with them. We actually write together quite a bit, really. So
Oh, nice.
in the single just before Hell No in Love, they released a song called Izzy. Um, and I actually helped write the bridge to that song as well. So
Oh, nice.
we collaborate together quite a lot because the lead singer is my boyfriend. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so that's kind of like where the connection comes from. And then we've all just managed to obviously become really good friends as well alongside that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
Kind of
um,
like a Kurt Cobain, Courtney Love sort of
yeah,
situation.
like toxic.
Less of the. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, probably wasn't the best example to you.
yeah,
Maybe like a Camila Cabello and nearly said Shawn Ryder, Shawn Mendes.
yeah. It's a really nice like it's just always like a nice atmosphere with us all together. So it's always really fun and we're just like really silly all the time. So um, we just kind of sat in a room. They were writing together, and because I'm like there quite a lot, sometimes I'll just be like, "Oh, you could do this," or like, "Oh, I've just like wrote this verse. If you want to try this," so that's just how we just ended up collaborating on that track. And we'll probably have more stuff together as well in the future. And we've spoke about doing more and more things together quite a lot because I feel like we kind of come hand in hand now.
Mhm.
Especially like with just like the whole like way we go about like our visuals and things like that. We put a lot of time and care into it, and um, I think that it's just a nice, it's just a nice little relationship that we have together. That also, I think that we now like share a following almost.
Mhm.
Because like people who know me will probably definitely know Bar Staff, and then vice versa. So it's quite
Mhm.
a nice, it's a nice way to be able to like share content, which we've done with Hell No in Love. We've been able to kind of share this release as like both of our release.
Oh, that's
Um,
lovely. Because it makes it even better knowing that you're dating someone in bar stuff. Because I was looking at the promo photos. Is your boyfriend the one wearing the hood in
yeah,
the
yeah.
photos? Oh my gosh, that's insane. Because I was gonna say you look incredible in those photos. I need to know
Oh,
where you got your outfit from. It was giving like Lana Del Rey, but also kind of like Wolf Alice vibes.
oh, thank you. So you'll probably see that outfit again at another point. So I won't say too much, but you will see the outfit again.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to go for kind of a completely so with like my releases this year, I'm kind of taking like a different turn with it. So I've kind of had my little indie rock phase last year, and now I'm like moving a little bit more into like the R&B kind of
Oh,
vibes.
okay.
Um, but with also that, like indie flair to it as well. Um, so like some of the music that I'm going to be releasing throughout the year is going to be kind of towards like Hell No in Love. So I wanted to go with like a more classic look for it.
Hmm.
Um, and kind of took inspiration a little bit from kind of like, like the last dinner party.
Yes.
That kind of, I love how they look. And obviously
Mm.
like,
Now you
it's
said
not,
it, I see it. I see the vision.
yeah, just that kind of look. I just find it like so classy, but like also it's just like a perfect look for what they're going for.
Hmm.
Um, but I just like changing. Um, like I like changing things up quite a lot. So like some days I'll be dressed like how I dress in my headline shows, like a rock girl. And then some days I'll be like stripped back, like soft girl vibes. Like I literally just like change my vibe like all the time. But
Hmm.
I just feel like that's fine. Like I
Yeah.
just go with like how I feel at that time and what I like. But I kind of reflect that in my music as well, definitely, because I'm
I
just
was gonna
changing.
say,
I'm
I
always
was
changing.
gonna say for sure, yeah, like you definitely have a mix of, there's definitely a reoccurring theme, but there's a mix of styles. So it would make sense that
Yeah.
that's, you know,
But
the same in what you wear.
yeah, I enjoy that. Like personally, I understand that people can't just like have a new era every time they like release a single. Um,
Why
but
not?
I also just
Be the pioneer, be the first one.
why not? But like I just enjoy it's something that I enjoy, and then I always think it's nice to see like things being consistent but also different and not
Hmm.
all same and just the same kind of colours, same everything all the time because it just gets boring. For
Yeah.
me anyway, I get bored really easily. So yeah, change is good for me.
Yeah, because you know, I think it's pretty clear that your general vibe has changed since your first EP, Bitter. That was 2023.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, that your style has changed slightly since then?
Yeah, I think oh, definitely has changed. I think since then I've increased in confidence a lot more. So I think that reflects in both like my music, the production, um, all of that kind of stuff. Because back then I kind of, I didn't really have a lot of say in the way things sounded, in the sense of I was very like, okay, yeah, we'll just go with that, or, yeah, I'm fine with that. And I just kind of went along with it and didn't know what I wanted. Um,
Mm.
so those like older tracks, I'm actually planning on re-recording because I want it to kind of fit more with the way that I had kind of imagined it in my head. Because, at the time I loved those tracks when I released them, but I also feel like I've moved like further on since then, and since I've got a band especially, they've put new ideas forward for those tracks that sound great, and we want to do that, kind of lean in towards more how we play it live.
Hmm.
um, so that'll be exciting. It'll be something that we'll kind of do a bit further on down the line, when I get the chance to, because obviously we want to focus on new things first.
Yeah,
um, but it'll be nice to revisit them. I think
for
it's
sure. Oh my God, that's so exciting. So, can we be expecting a new EP anytime soon?
yeah.
Yeah.
You will. You will. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't have an actual set date, to be honest, so I don't know why I'm stressing. But what would you like as if I was going to spill the beans? I don't actually have a
Yeah.
date.
I was
Uh,
gearing up then. I was like, this is an exclusive.
no, so I've got something related to that coming soon that I'm going to be announcing
Okay.
in the next week or so. So that's exciting. But then there is a plan for an EP this year, so it will be coming. It's pretty much ready, to be honest. It's just like I say, like the admin side of stuff. Haven't been able yet to. I want to kind of like test the waters first because
Mm.
it's crazy because I've not actually released anything since August, which is it's a long time for me. And I kind of got in because I kind of got into the swing of kind of releasing something every couple of months.
Mm.
Which is what I want, which is what I'm going to do again. But I just felt like at that time, I mean, the past 6 months or so, we've been focusing so much on the live side of things that it's just been, um, that's kind of took over, which is a good thing because obviously we've increased in like, in our audience and like the people, our followers and stuff like that. So, um, it's been a good thing. But yeah, there's definitely going to be an EP this year to be expected.
Well, you heard it here first. That's so exciting. And before I let you go, I need to ask, do you have any two artists for me that you think are slept on and why?
Okay. I'm actually going to say one of them that has been a guest for you. So
Okay.
I'd say Glossy Boy. And the reason for that is because, I mean, they're just like such good vibes. I've
Fab.
worked with them. I've worked with them a few times now, and supported them in London. And they're just such nice lads. Like they really deserve like all of the like all of the fans that they get and all the engagement that they get. They just deserve it all. Um, and the music is unreal as well. Like they're literally always on my playlists.
Mm-hmm.
Always got the music on like before I go out and stuff like that. Like it's
Oh my God,
just
yeah. Lick is on my morning playlist at this point.
yeah, yeah, and the new one Iguana as well is
Iguana, yeah.
but yeah, they're such good musicians. They're all really nice people. And they've supported me from the start. Like they got me to support them in London, which was my first ever show outside of the Northwest.
Mm.
Um, I think it was 2 years ago now. So it was like literally when I was really just after I'd released Bitter, my EP. Um, and they literally the only reason they messaged me was because they liked my music. They weren't really like interested in how many tickets can you sell or like, you
Oh,
know, if people knew who I was. They were just like, we love your music and we want you to support. So they deserve the world, and I love them.
oh, that's amazing.
I need another person as well, don't I? Um, well, I'm obviously going to say bar staff, um, because they are like, I know I'm a little bit biased, but they genuinely are like such a good like team together,
They're
um,
great.
and they genuinely like they create purely because they love it, and they write really authentically, and from the heart, and especially I've worked a lot with Kira, who does, a lot of the songwriting in the band. And we've collaborated a lot on some stuff, and, she really is like a mastermind lyricist. And I genuinely don't know how she does it, but she just comes up with new stuff like constantly. And I just think they have what it takes to like really take it as far as they can. And they just put their all into it. So I've got
I'm
to
so
say,
excited to talk to them. Can't wait.
no, I'm excited for you to talk to them as well. I'm hoping they don't slag me off. They won't. But it's
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? If you just said all that nice stuff about them, then they're like, yeah,
like,
don't
oh
speak
yeah,
to them.
we don't actually like her. It's funny because I was sat in the room whilst Ben was on a podcast with someone else, with the band the other day, and the guy like brought me up and he was like, "Oh, so how did you end up working with Hannah?" And he was like, "Well, she's my girlfriend." And he was just like, "Oh right, well yeah, that makes sense then." And he was like, "How do you know her? And how did you end up like?"
Yeah,
And then he
you
was just
just
like,
like poke your head into the background, like,
I was
"Hey."
just like, but yeah, it's like a little thing that some people, obviously people who know, but then like some people like are dead shocked by it and they're like, oh right, yeah, okay, yeah, like that makes sense now. While
Mm.
you do so much together.
No, I love it. I think that it's so exciting, like especially because I'm having them on the show next. It'll
Yeah,
be it'll give me more things to talk about. No, I'm joking. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for coming on today.
thank
It's been a real pleasure to have you on today, and go see her at the Deaf Institute in June, is it?
Yeah, 28th of June, the Deaf Institute in Manchester, and yeah, it's selling fast, so go
Get
buy
your
tickets
tickets,
as
guys.
possible.
And also watch out for her new EP, which is on
Yeah,
the way,
that nobody knows about
that
other
nobody knows about.
than you, so
Yeah,
feel special.
watch this space. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing to speak to you, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you so much.